I know that one of the most frequent questions that I get on this channel is what on earth is going on in Maricopa County, Arizona? What's the latest with the audit? What's the latest with the Attorney General's investigation? And as you know, I've had to say of late, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have any answers for you. Well, today we have as our guests someone who's on the front lines of election integrity reform and the audit and the rising patriot movement all throughout Arizona, and that is the one and only Dr. Kelly Ward. For many of you, she needs no introduction. She's a rising rock star in patriot circles. She's a former Arizona state senator. She's the current chairwoman of the Arizona GOP, and she's here with us to give us a backstage look at what's going on in her amazing state. So, Dr. Kelly Ward, I see you're showing off there. You're outside while so many of us are hunkered in, freezing, but it's so wonderful for you to make some time out for us today. Thank you so much.
Well, Steve, thanks for having me. Yes, it is beautiful. This is one of the reasons I live in Arizona. I love this kind of winter, not the kind that you're having, certainly, and many of the people who are listening. This is one of the big weekends where I live in Lake Havasu City. It is the home of the London Bridge, in case people don't know. That's where the London Bridge came, was right here to Lake Havasu City. And every year in January, around this time, we have a balloon festival. And so we're hoping that this wind that's blowing my hair around dies down so that the balloons can actually go up over the next several days.
Yeah, I was actually just out there in Phoenix a couple of months back. I took my whole family out. We were with the American Freedom Tour with Donald Trump Jr. and Dinesh D'Souza. It was back in November. And even my kids remarked, Dad, the weather's so wonderful out here. And do we have to go back to cold, gray Delaware? And so, yes, we're only just a little bit jealous. But let's begin with some macro politics here. I'm just curious, what your perspective is as a frontliner on this. We're seeing nothing less what appears to be the collapse of the Biden regime. We're seeing the implosion of the Democrats. I mean, the latest Quinnipiac poll is Biden barely holding on at 33% approval, some of the lowest approval numbers that we've ever seen of any modern president. We got Gallup showing the Republican Party voter affiliation surpassing the Democrats by 5 points. It's the highest GOP voter affiliation in 25 years, an entire generation. We're approaching upwards. I believe the latest count is 28 congressional Democrats who've announced their retirement. I know you're up on that. Two more just announced today. So what do you make it? Are we seeing a possible red wave rising here like never before? Is this like 1994, 2010, 2014? Right. What's your assessment?
Well, it certainly should be. And as long as we, as conservatives, as America First patriots, band together and refuse to have people like Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger or people that used to be from our state, Jeff Flake, John McCain, those types take over the party, we will have a landslide for America. And, I didn't ever think that I was going to be the chairwoman of the Republican Party of Arizona. Give me a break. I've fought against the establishment really the entire time that I've been in politics, because I think that our side has to be better than the other side. We shouldn't be emulating the other side. We should be fighting for the things that we hold dear: faith, family, freedom. Right. And when we do that, we're stronger. So I think there certainly could be a giant red tsunami from the school boards to the legislatures to Congress to the Senate in 2022.
Oh, my. So, yeah, with a Virginia bellwether here, I think you're right. I mean, I love how you put it there in terms of rhino hunting there. What seems to be happening with the collapse of the Democratic Party goes way beyond just the old Republican versus Democrat divide. I know you're on the front lines of this. It's a new political animosity that's growing by the day, which is not so much a left versus right ideological divide or Republican versus Democrat. It's more a people versus the permanent political class. I actually just heard General Flynn. He was in Arizona a couple weeks back endorsing Doug Mastriano when he announced his gubernatorial run. And that's exactly what he said. He said, this isn't left versus right. This isn't Republican versus Democrat. This is American versus post-American. You know, these are people, faith, family, and freedom versus a globalist elite who want to usher in a brave new world. And it and it seems to the extent that the Democrats have aligned themselves with that political elite, they're getting punished now in the polls. That's a warning, is it not, to the rhino Republican who's maybe being enticed by the siren call of the permanent political class, of the wonderful media coverage that they can get for it, and all the parties they can get invited to. What do you think? Is that the case? Are we seeing a new divide here between the people versus the political class, and is that a warning sign for Republicans not to get too close to rhinos here?
Right. Yes. And, President Trump actually ushered in this age of populism. I like to call it Americanism, and call myself an Americanist. I don't, populist doesn't really fit completely with me. I am an Americanist. I believe in America first. I believe in the policies that are put forward to make our country thrive, our small businesses thrive, and our individual citizens to be sovereign and to be strong. And so, yes, it is we the people versus the political establishment, the elite, the people who believe they know better on every front, whether it's about the border, whether it's about the economy, whether it's about medicine, whether it's about COVID, whatever it is, they think they know better. They should pat us on the head and we should just accept it. We're done accepting it.
Right. Yeah, brilliantly said. I mean, I think Don Lemon of CNN was just saying that the other day. You know, I can't believe you have all of these neophytes doing their own research on COVID and vaccines and the like. How dare they think for themselves and this kind of thing? I mean, they're not even trying to hide it at this point. You came out recently with a book entitled "Inspired by What's Right," where you discuss your journey. A pretty impressive journey that you've taken to become the chairwoman of the Republican Party in Arizona. Can you just give a bit of an aerial view, a little précis of this journey? You didn't always have your sights on politics, I take it.
No, I never thought that I'd be in politics, really, in real politics. Now, I was always on student council when I was a kid. I was, in medical school, I was involved in medical student politics related to my profession and the future of my profession. And actually, that's how my husband and I met, because he was in medical school in Missouri. I was in medical school in West Virginia. And if it weren't for medical student politics, our paths may never have crossed and we wouldn't be living this blessed life that we live today. I wrote this book, Inspired by What's Right, after my race against John McCain in 2016. That was the original, because I learned so many things on the campaign trail and getting into politics, serving in the legislature. And a lot of the things that people think are just on television, things like House of Cards or some of the political dramas, you think that, oh, that's just dramatization, that's just on television. Now, I have not seen anyone be pushed or murdered that I know of, but there is certainly a lot of the backroom deals, the good old boy network that exists inside politics. And so the thing that got me into the political realm was Obamacare. Because as a physician, I'm a family physician. I'm used to taking care of people from the time they're born all the way to the end of their life, interacting with their families. And when Obamacare came on the scene, I knew it was the biggest takeover of healthcare, liberty, and freedom that we were ever going to see in our lifetime. Not just for my profession, but for us, all of us. We all are eventually patients. And I said, somebody's got to fight this. And I'm looking around, and finally I looked in the mirror and said, why don't I do it? I've got skills, I've got talents, I've got abilities. God has blessed me with so much. I should be using that for more than just my patient population or my community. I should use it for the greater good. And somehow got into the state Senate, fought the battle, and then ended up running against really one of the most powerful, most well-known, most well-financed, and also not the nicest guy in politics.
Well said. Why? You do have another book, as I understand it, that's about to come out. Is it next month, on the Arizona audit, which you've been on the front lines of? The latest Rasmussen poll that just came out yesterday, 58% of likely voters believe there was cheating in the 2020 election. and 57% support ongoing 2020 audits. It's a number that keeps going up and up and up. Give us just a sense of, from your perspective, give us a sense of the audit that you've seen thus far in Maricopa County. Are you happy with the process? Can you give us any updates, particularly on the investigation? Is it Arizona Attorney General? Is it Mark Brnovich? Can you give us any insight into that as well?
Well, I certainly am proud that Arizona is on the front line, the tip of the spear on the election integrity effort across the nation. And it's because we have strong people that are in positions to be able to push that narrative, myself included, but many others. And we also are blessed to have great state legislators who were willing to put it all on the line, kind of like our founders did, where they were willing to sacrifice their sacred honor to get this done, to prove what happened in that unbelievable 2020 election. And so we got the ball rolling. We have done yeoman's work here on the ground in Maricopa County, looking into things. Things are very prepped for future audits. That's for sure. We've hit all the bumps. We've hit all the potholes. We've had to fine tune that so that other people don't have to go through it. In September 24th, the first report from the audit team came out, and the nation and the world watched. And there were so many problems that were revealed there that Maricopa County just wants to brush under the rug and pretend like they don't even exist. That entire report has been given to our Attorney General by Senate President Karen Fann, and Mark Brnovich and the Election Integrity Unit assures everyone that they are investigating, but that they can't talk about it because they are investigating. And that's a little frustrating for me. I'm sure it's frustrating for you. I'm sure it's frustrating for all the people that are listening, because I want to see action. I want to see arrests. I know that there was corruption. I know there was fraud. I know there was criminal behavior in Maricopa County. I want to see those people arrested. I want to see them go to jail. I want to see them prosecuted and go to jail. And it just is a slow moving process, which is very frustrating. I'd love to see the Attorney General do a canvass, knocking on people's doors in several counties, but at least in Maricopa County, where Phoenix is, and in Pima County, where Tucson is, where they can corroborate the information that grassroots teams, Liz Harris in particular and her group, they did amazing work showing that there are ghost voters and lost voters. Now, ghost voters are those voters who, on the voter roll, it says that this entity voted, but they don't live in the place where they are registered. There's not a person or a human or anything that is affiliated with that vote that was cast. Lost voters are people who actually live in those homes. When their doors are knocked on, they say, yes, I did vote, but they are not in the final tally showing that their vote was ever counted. That has to be investigated. That has to be cleared up, and the Attorney General could do it. We also are waiting for the Splunk logs and the routers. You've heard President Trump say, get the routers, Sonny, get the routers, Wendy, get the routers, Kelly, because that's very important. It gives us the data to back up what happened. We know that Maricopa County deleted and archived information that it was illegal to do. They testified to that, two of the supervisors, before Congress under oath. So we need those logs and we need those routers to find out, were those routers connected to the internet? I believe they were. So we're having trouble, though, because there need to be 3 IT specialists that do this work for the county. They had trouble finding the third person to be able to do it because of what happened to Cyber Ninjas and Cypher. People just don't want to get involved.
Right. Yeah. Mockery and ridicule are certainly persuasive to keep people underground, no question. I just want to relate in it too. I'm constantly asked about how people can be so sure that we'll have safe and secure elections, particularly in the midterms coming up. Certainly Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, those were, again, if they're bellwethers, things are going to go great. But from your experience, what's been done? I know Arizona's passed some pretty impressive election integrity reform. What's been done and what should be done to ensure voters' confidence in all of this?
Right. Well, one of the things that did succeed and get through the legislature and get signed by the governor was the prohibition of Zuckerbucks in Arizona. So Mark Zuckerberg or other big walleted people on left or right are unable to interfere in our elections the way that Mark Zuckerberg did in 2020. So that's prohibited going forward. I still believe that we need a special session inside the regular session that just addresses the election integrity issues. Because in Arizona, our laws don't take effect until 90 days after the legislative session ends. And that might be too late for them to affect August in the primary or November for the general election for 2022. We've still got work to do. And thank goodness we've got legislators who are willing to do it.
Right. Absolutely. And finally, what do you think of the precinct strategy? So you had the New York Times had a fascinating article about patriots volunteering to oversee their local precincts. And in fact, in one section of the article, they said even in blue districts in Virginia, the precinct workers were 2-to-1 Republican. They had never seen anything quite like that. Now they spun it to say, and they were so impressed at how integral the whole process was and so on and so forth. But do you have something similar going on in Arizona where patriots are finally taking very seriously the micro element of elections at precinct levels?
We do. Yes, we are following that Virginia model. We've already been recruiting people from across our state, not just within the Republican Party. We're building coalitions outside the party, people who are independent, even libertarians who care about election integrity, even Democrats. They're welcome to join these coalitions to help us to make sure that every vote, every legal vote is counted. And no illegal funny business is allowed to occur. I can tell you, most Democrats that are actually thinking Democrats do not like what Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are trying to shove down our throats with this Let's Rig Elections bill. That bill is designed to make it easy to cheat. It might be easy to vote, but maybe not for citizens. Me as a Republican, I as an American citizen, as an Americanist, I want it to be easy to vote and hard to cheat. I do think it's very important for everybody out there to get involved, to be a poll watcher, to be a poll worker if able, but also to get out and vote. We have got to overwhelm the algorithm. I have no doubt that there was cheating in 2016, probably for years before. 2020, there was more cheating. In 2016, we, the people that supported President Trump, were able to overwhelm that algorithm. We've got to do it again in 2022. So people can't get downhearted and say, oh, I'm just not going to vote. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Bring your friends, bring people who have never voted before, and get them to the polls, overwhelm the algorithm, and we will take this country back.
Amen. Yeah, let's spread Virginia out all throughout 50 states. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, Dr. Kelly Ward. Where can people keep up with the latest on Arizona? I know you put out a video on YouTube each day on the latest going on in the Republican Party in Arizona. Where can they go?
We do. We have a couple of things. So we do a daily update from the Republican Party of Arizona. I do it a few days a week. I used to do it all myself. But I will tell you that a 50-plus-year-old woman on film every single day is a difficult occurrence. So I'll just put it at that. Also, it makes the Democrats' job easy because if I'm seen as the party, it's easy to attack. The party is not just me. The party is all of us. So azgop.com, AZGOP, ArizonaGOP.com. You can see those on all of our social media, on YouTube, etc. My husband and I actually do something called the Ward Report, which is a little more edgy, a little more fun. And you can see that at kellyward.com, Kelly with an I, because I care about the people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Ward. Enjoy that balloon festival and enjoy it for us and who are suffering in the gray, cold Northeast.
That's right.
Can't thank you enough for your faithfulness and for your work. God bless you. Thank you so much.
God bless you too, Steve. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.